All right, so becoming a millionaire. It's a dream for a lot of us, right? Like, who wouldn't want that kind of financial freedom?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we're going to try to break down how to do it, or at least some ideas.
Okay, cool.
And for this deep dive, we're going to be looking at this YouTube video by Sara Finance. It's called How to Become a Millionaire, The Truth No One Tells You.
Catchy title.
It is. And she really gets into it. I think we all dream about financial freedom, maybe retiring early.
Yeah.
But how do we actually get there?
Well, she's a successful entrepreneur. She's actually done it. She's built a thriving business. So she's not just talking the talk, she's walking the walk, you know?
Right, exactly.
And what's really interesting is how she tackles these common myths about wealth,
Right.
like the things we believe without even realizing it.
Like thinking a regular job is going to make you a millionaire.
Right.
So we're kind of told growing up.
It's almost like a trap. You're trading your hours for a set income. So that puts a pretty hard limit on how much you can actually make.
And even if you make a good hourly wage, it still takes way longer than you think to hit $1 million, especially when you think about things like inflation and taxes.
Yeah, especially after taxes.
Yeah. And she gives this example in the video. If you make $30 an hour, which is, I mean, that's pretty decent.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's a good wage.
Yeah.
But working 40 hours a week, it takes 17 years to reach $1 million
And that's before taxes.
before taxes.
Yeah. So realistically, you're probably looking at over 20 years, maybe even more, to hit that first million just through a normal job.
Yeah, so does that sound like a good use of 2 decades of your life?
I mean, not really. There's got to be a better way.
There's gotta be. And that's kind of what she gets at. She's all about building systems that can generate income passively,
Right.
even while you sleep. I mean, that's the dream, right? That passive income.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where things start to get really interesting. Think about leverage and scaling things up. You're not just working for money, you're building something that works for you.
She really pushes starting your own business, finding a problem that you can solve, a need in the market.
Yeah, and that's the big difference between a job and a business. A job, you're trading time for money, but a business, if it's done well, it can grow like crazy.
She uses the example of Airbnb. Like,
Yeah.
they saw a problem. People need affordable places to stay, and homeowners want to make some extra cash.
And they put those two things together.
And it, like, exploded in popularity.
Exactly. But the encouraging thing is, you don't have to create the next Airbnb to be successful.
Right.
Think about smaller problems, niches, where you can offer a solution that people will pay for.
So once you've got that business going, she really emphasizes reinvesting those profits. Like she talks about Amazon and how they put so much money back into growing and expanding.
Reinvesting is key. It's like the more you put back in, the faster it grows.
So it's like adding fuel to a fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the goal is to get to a point where the business can run smoothly, even without you having to manage every little thing.
Like, it's almost like having a team that can work effectively, even if you step back.
That's exactly it. You build a system that works. It's about freedom.
Like what Jeff Bezos did with Amazon. He built a structure that could run even without him calling all the shots.
Exactly. And that kind of freedom comes from building assets, not just collecting liabilities.
Which is another big thing she talks about.
It's super important.
Prioritizing assets over liabilities. But what's the difference? I mean, for someone who might not know.
Yeah, good question. Basically, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket. Think of real estate, stocks, a good business, things that generate income or go up in value over time.
And a liability.
A liability takes money out of your pocket, like a car, designer clothes, gadgets that lose their value the minute you buy them.
So basically, you want things that make you money rather than cost the money.
Yeah, things that work for you, not the other way around.
She even says it's okay to buy those fun things, you know, like a fancy car or whatever, but only after your assets are making enough money to pay for them.
Makes sense. Build a solid base first.
Yeah, so you're not just spending money you don't have.
Exactly. Shift your mindset from just spending to building long-term security.
Ah.
But I think the big question a lot of people have is, how do you actually start doing all this? It can feel overwhelming.
Totally. You know, I've been there. You think, what if I don't know enough? Or what if I mess up?
Well, what I find really reassuring is that Sara emphasizes that you don't need to have all the answers right away. You learn as you go.
She actually says in the video, starting is more important than waiting for perfect knowledge.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful.
It is. It's about overcoming that feeling of being stuck and just taking that first step, even if it's not perfect.
You figure it out along the way.
So before we go any further, what are your initial thoughts so far? What's resonating with you?
I think what's really standing out for me is just how powerful it is to shift your mindset. Like, we have to challenge all these assumptions we've been taught about wealth and success. It's about becoming the architect of your own financial future.
Yeah. And she doesn't just talk about mindset, she connects it to real, concrete action.
Right. It's not enough to just think about being a millionaire. You have to make choices that support that goal, like building a business, investing wisely, focusing on assets.
So it's not just about dreaming, it's about taking action.
Exactly. And I think that resonates with everyone, no matter where you are in your financial journey.
And she also recommends these 4 books that really shaped her thinking about all of this, which we'll talk about in a bit. But for now, I want to ask you a question.
Okay, shoot.
What problem are you passionate about solving? Could that be the seed for a business idea?
That's a great question. Like, what unique skills or knowledge do you have that could fill a need? Often, the best businesses come from that combination of passion and solving a real problem.
And remember, you don't have to have all the answers figured out right now. The key is to start exploring, learning, and taking those first steps.
As Sarah says, the road to a million, to financial freedom, it all starts with a single step.
Yeah, with the right approach and dedication, it's totally doable.
Absolutely. You know what's really cool about Sarah's approach?
What's that?
She's lays it all out, makes it clear. Like, building wealth. It's not some secret formula or get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
It's about following these basic principles
Ah.
consistently.
Yeah, it's refreshing, actually. She's not promising some easy path.
No magic bullet.
Yeah, like she's saying, it takes work, it takes strategy, and you got to get out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. Speaking of which, let's talk about those 4 books she recommends.
Oh, yeah. Even though she doesn't actually name them in the video, it's obvious they were a big influence on her. Understanding business, investing, how to create wealth.
It's like she's handing us a treasure map. Go explore. Keep learning.
I love that analogy.
And it really highlights that this isn't a one-time thing.
Right.
Becoming a millionaire, building wealth, it's a journey. It's about constant growth, changing, and adapting.
It makes you wonder, those books, I bet they're packed with even more specific strategies.
For sure.
Actionable advice? Maybe stories about other people who've done it? It's like having mentors, but in book form.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And it emphasizes how important it is to keep learning about money.
Knowledge is power, right?
Yeah,
Especially when it comes to building wealth.
absolutely. But it's not just about reading, it's about doing. You got to take those ideas and put them into practice.
So true. It's like baking, right? You can have the best ingredients in the world,
Yeah,
but if you don't actually bake the cake,
you're not going to have a cake.
exactly. And just like with baking, there's going to be some trial and error,
Definitely.
maybe even some disasters in the kitchen, but that's all part of the process.
Absolutely. Every mistake is a lesson learned.
You get closer to what you're trying to create. But speaking of the outcome, I think it's important to remember that becoming a millionaire,
Yeah.
it's not JST about the money, right?
It's about what that money represents, the choices it gives you.
Exactly. The freedom to do what you're passionate about, spend more time with the people you love, to support causes that matter to you.
Money is a tool.
It is.
If you use it wisely, it can have a huge impact, not just on your life, but on the world around you.
Like unlocking a whole new level of possibility, wouldn't you say?
For sure. And that's what's so inspiring about Sarah's message. You can create a life of abundance, not just financially, but in all areas of your life.
And it all comes back to mindset, doesn't it?
Total.
It's not about being greedy or just wanting more stuff.
Yeah,
It's about connecting your money goals to something bigger than yourself.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Finding your purpose and using your resources to make a difference. That's a journey worth taking, whether you want to be a millionaire or just have more financial freedom and choices.
It's about taking control, taking ownership of your financial well-being.
Creating a future where you can thrive, not just survive.
Exactly. And remember, it all starts with that first step. What's one thing you can do today to move closer to your financial goals?
Even a small action can set big things in motion.
Imagine years from now, looking back and seeing how far you've come, all because you decided to take that first step. Pretty powerful, right?
It really is. It's a testament to the power of consistent action. Small choices, made intentionally, they can lead to amazing results over time.
It comes down to believing in yourself, trusting the process, and having the courage to keep moving forward, even when things get tough.
Because let's be real, the road to financial freedom, It's not always going to be easy. There will be ups and downs.
Absolutely.
But it's in those challenging moments, that's when you really build resilience.
Yeah.
Your determination is tested.
And it's on the other side of those challenges that you emerge even stronger.
Wiser.
More resourceful. That's when you truly appreciate how far you've come.
Exactly. So embrace the adventure. Equip yourself with the knowledge and the mindset you need to navigate the path to financial freedom. The rewards are definitely worth the effort.
It's interesting how Sarah talks about those fears people have, like not knowing enough about taxes or the legal stuff when starting a business.
Oh yeah, it can be intimidating.
Totally. But she makes a good point. You don't have to be an expert in everything right away.
Right, you don't have to know it all up front. It's more about being willing to learn.
And not being afraid to ask for help when you need it.
Exactly. I mean, none of us can be experts in everything. It's about knowing what you're good at and maybe delegating or outsourcing the things you're not so good at.
Right. Finding people who can help you with those things.
Yeah. And think about it. We live in a time where information is everywhere. If you have a question, you can probably find the answer online. Or you can connect with experts.
There are so many resources out there, like online communities of entrepreneurs, people who've been through it all before.
Exactly. It's about tapping into that collective wisdom.
So Sarah's basically saying, don't let fear stop you.
Start where you are with what you have.
And trust the process.
Learn as you go. And it's not just about the destination, remember. The journey itself is valuable.
It is. You gain so much along the way.
The skills you develop, the resilience you build, the lessons you learn, those are all important, whether you hit $1 million or not.
It's really about personal growth, isn't it?
It is. Pushing your boundaries, discovering what you're capable of. Who knows? Those challenges you face might even spark your next big idea.
You never know.
It's a cycle, right? Growth leads to new opportunities, which lead to more growth.
It's like a snowball effect. So what's really resonating with you from all of this?
What's sticking with me is how Sara talks about success not being a straight line. There will be bumps in the road, for sure.
There will be setbacks.
Maybe even times you want to give up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But those tough moments, that's when you really see what you're made of.
That's when you build that resilience.
Exactly. And those challenges, they often lead to the biggest breakthroughs. That's when you have to get creative, find new solutions.
It forces you to think outside the box.
And that's what makes it all worthwhile. It's not just about the end goal. It's the person you become along the way. That's the real measure of success.
Well said. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Sarah's insights, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing is this: the power to create a better life, both financially and personally, it's within you. You have that power. It's about believing in yourself, embracing the journey, taking those steps towards your goals.
And remember those 4 books you mentioned?
Oh, yeah.
That's your next step. Go explore those. See what resonates with you.
Keep learning, keep growing.
So, to our listeners, as you're on your own path to financial freedom, remember to celebrate the small wins and embrace the challenges. They're all part of the process.
And never stop believing in yourself and your dreams.
The world needs your unique talents and contributions. And when you connect your financial goals to something bigger than yourself,
you unlock a whole new level of potential. You can really make a difference.
well, that's a great way to end things, don't you think?
I think so.
So until our next deep dive, keep learning, keep growing, and keep reaching for those stars.
We'll be here cheering you on.